What up, everybody? Before we take a deep dive into everything surrounding the New York Giants right now, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. The first week of free agency may be over, but moves are going to continue to happen for Big Blue, and you don't want to miss out. Subscribe to the channel, because when the Giants make a move, we make a video, and we are almost at 26,000 subs on the channel. If you want videos every day on the New York Football Giants, hit that big red sub button. What up, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Hit me up on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. That link is clickable down in the comment section. We have a bunch to talk about on today's show. Julian Love signed with the Seattle Seahawks on Friday, so we'll break that down. I'm going to give you like 14 players that I think the Giants could look at either in the NFL draft, NFL free agency, or even on their own roster to potentially replace Julian Love. Then we'll talk about Isaiah McKenzie, who was just released by the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, some connections there with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll dating back to their days in Buffalo. But let's start with the news of the day that's coming across the ticker right now. A'Shawn Robinson is set to visit the New York Giants early next week, according to Ian Rappaport. The Giants and Joe Schoen said coming into the offseason that defensive line depth is an area that they have to get better at. And A'Shawn Robinson is one of the best interior defensive linemen when it comes to being a run stopper and a block shedder, and someone that just helps you become a better rush defense. Last year, he played in 10 games, 42 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. He is a massive human being, 6'4", 330 pounds, and you can see that Joe Schoen is making a very strong effort to improve this defensive line. The first move he went out and made was Rakeem Nunez-Roches. Sure, we didn't know a lot about him when we first signed him, but we know a lot now. We know he's nasty. We know he's a fan favorite dating back to his Buffalo days, and he's a pro's pro with a lot of talent. Go watch some of those games that the Tampa Bay Bucks had in their run to the Lombardi with Tom Brady. He was exceptional. He's a guy that's not going to give you much juice in the pass rush department, but he's someone that's definitely going to make you a better run defense. You brought back Jihad Ward, who had a hell of a year with New York last year under Wink Martindale, and now you're looking at A'Shawn Robinson. That would be 3 pros backing up the big dogs on screen, Kayvon Leonard, Dexter, and Azeez Ojulari. Still got Ryder Anderson, DJ Davidson, Henry Mondo, and Tom and Fox. I think you need another edge rusher, but I would not be mad if the Giants brought in A'Shawn Robinson. From Robinson to another free agent target that has been linked to Big Blue, that is Isaiah McKenzie. Yeah, McKenzie was released by the Buffalo Bills earlier this week and could be a free agent target for the New York Football Giants. We talked about it on the top of the show. Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills before he took this job. Joe Schoen, the assistant general manager for the Buffalo Bills. So they not only know Isaiah McKenzie, but Daboll has a strong relationship with him. He knows the offense, and I still think the Giants have a need at wide receiver. And I think Isaiah McKenzie brings some things to this football team, if he were to be signed, that they don't really have right now. He's that gadget player. 42 receptions in 15 games this year, just over 420 yards, 10 yards per pop. But he's also someone that can take a couple handoffs here and there, some jet sweeps, some motions out of the backfield, some screens. He's electric with the ball in his hands. Just didn't really live up to the hype as the Buffalo Bills' third wide receiver this past year. He had 5 total touchdowns, 4 receiving and 1 rushing. The Giants always talk about versatility and generator with the ball in their hands, and that's exactly what Isaiah McKenzie is. And the reason I think you still need help at this wide receiver position is because you only have a couple of guys that are actually healthy. Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Jeff Smith, and Paris Campbell are the only receivers that are really healthy. Shepard's still coming off that torn ACL, as well as Wan'Dale Robinson. And Colin Johnson, who had a huge offseason for Big Blue, played well in the preseason before he got hurt. He's coming off a torn Achilles. You still have a need for wide receiver. You don't bypass a need at wide receiver because you signed Paris Campbell and you brought back Darius Slayton and Jeff Smith. You still need more playmakers on the outside. Is the need as glaring as it once was maybe a week and a half ago? No. But those guys are all on short-term deals. Hodgins is on a 1-year deal. Shepard's on a 1-year deal. Paris Campbell's on a 1-year deal. Darius Slayton's on a 2-year deal. Jeff Smith is on a 1-year deal. That's 5 players right there that are on short-term deals. That still means I could still see the Giants selecting a wide receiver at pick number 25 in the NFL draft. You don't pass up on elite talent at a position of need because you have players like Slayton and Campbell. And no disrespect to them, we still need that alpha number 1 wide receiver. Probably not going to find that at this stage of the offseason and free agency, maybe in a trade, but you already made your trade for a pass catcher in Darren Waller. Saying that to say, do not be surprised if the Giants make another move at the wide receiver position. I want to ask all the real ones, though, watching the video right now here on a Saturday. Should the Giants sign Isaiah McKenzie in NFL free agency? I think it makes sense. This comes down to what it's going to be. Maybe a 1-year, $2-3 million deal, similar to the Paris Campbell deal. I could see it happening, and I'd get behind it. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know what you think. Coming up in a quick bit, we're going to break down some Julian Love replacements because he did sign a contract with the Seattle Seahawks. No longer a part of Big Blue. Good luck to Julian Love. We'll break that down. He was a great player for Big Blue. I wish him nothing but the best. We're definitely going to miss him. We'll talk about some guys that could potentially replace him. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Fume. Go to tryfume.com/chat. Sports, that link's in the comments and description of today's show. We all have bad habits, and we certainly know how hard they can be to kick those bad habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation in the Journey Pack that comes with 3 unique flavors is awesome. Fume, though, it's not a vape. It is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code chatsports to save 10% off the Journey Pack today. That is tryfum.com/chatsports and use code chatsports so you can get 10% off the Journey Pack today. That includes crisp mint, maple pepper, and white cranberry. I know producer Nick Roloff is a huge fan of the crisp mint. He told me the minty sensation is super powerful when it hits the back of your throat. Get hooked up with them. Tryfume.com/chatsports. Julian Love, unfortunately, is leaving the New York Football Giants. He signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Seattle Seahawks. It's $12 million, but from what I've seen, incentives could push it up to $16 million. So you're really only paying 2 for 12, and it's $6 million per year. Look, I think that tells you everything you needed to know about what the Giants thought of Julian Love. $6 million is not a lot for a safety. You look at what the safety market was really offering this year. And outside of Jesse Bates to the Atlanta Falcons, a lot of players signed $7 to $6 million deals in NFL free agency. And I think the main reason the Giants wanted to not spend so much money on Julian Love is because they know that they're going to have to pay Xavier McKinney coming up some big bucks once he becomes a free agent. You are very thin at the safety spot right now for the Giants. You really only have 3 players on this roster. That includes Xavier McKinney, Jason Pinnock, and Dane Belton, the player that you drafted early in the NFL draft last year out of Iowa. So you only have 3 players on this roster. And obviously Xavier McKinney is not going to be a Julian Love replacement, but I think the first guy up is the guy that you see pictured on screen, and that is Jason Pinnock, formerly of the New York Jets. Went over to the New York Giants this year, and he played pretty damn well. But I want to focus in on what he was able to do at that strong safety and free safety spot when he had to be a plug-and-play player for Xavier McKinney when he broke his hand on a 4-wheeler in Mexico during the bye week. In 7 games played, he had 36 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack and a half, 1 forced fumble, and 3 pass breakups. Pinnock is on a short-term, inexpensive deal. He's obviously got some talent, and I think he's going to be the first guy that the Giants look to take the spot of Julian Love. Played well when McKinney was out. A very versatile player, kind of like Love. Not the cover guy that Love is. He's not going to slide into the slot and be a guy that could be a nickel corner like Love, but he can play that strong safety. He can play the free safety. He can come down in the box and be that big nickel to support against the run, but not really cover, and he's someone that can blitz off the edge. If you don't want Pinnock, And maybe even Dane Belton is a guy that could be, and we'll talk about that. What about you look towards the NFL draft? With pick number 25, what about Brian Branch out of Alabama? I think he could definitely be a guy the Giants could look at with pick number 25. Didn't have the best NFL combine, but he is still going to go in the first round, I believe. And I think the sweet spot is anywhere from 20 to 31. And good news for the Giants, they pick at 25. I like Brian Branch a lot because, like Love, he is very versatile and very physical player. I would say even more so of a physical, imposing player than Julian Love. You saw the stats, 14 tackles for loss. He can line up in the slot. He can play a little bit of safety. He can play a little bit of strong safety as well. More of a strong safety than a free safety. He really gets most of his usage out of the slot, and the Giants could use another slot corner. And I think in a Wink Martindale defense, a guy like Brian Branch makes a whole lot of sense. I think he's the most versatile defensive back really in this draft. And I like the fact that he's someone that is really good in the run department, not afraid to lower his head and deliver a big hit. And the Giants could use another player that could help you defending the run. Dane Belton is another guy on this roster that could potentially be a Julian Love replacement. I thought he played well, but kind of got phased out of the rotation once Pinnock came on after that Isaiah McKenzie injury. In 15 games played this year, he had 2 interceptions, a tackle for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 pass breakups, and 31 tackles. I like the potential that Belton possesses, and he needs to be on the football field this year because all he really did when he was make plays. Those 2 interceptions, had that fumble recovery on kickoff as well on defense. I'm a fan of Dane Belton, the Iowa Hawkeye. I think he's just a smart player. I think he knows how to play the game, and he has great instincts. I think he can read and react better than a lot of people in the NFL at his spot. So you got 2 guys in Belton and Jason Pinnock, and maybe even Brian Branch that you could look at in the NFL draft. Maybe you want to look, though, at NFL free agency and bring in a veteran to take in Julian Love's spot. The top guy that I would look at is Adrian Amos. I think he's a really versatile player. I think he would fit a Wink Martindale defense, right? These are probably the top 10 safeties left on the market. I think John Johnson could make some sense. Taylor Rapp could make some sense. Maybe a Terrell Edmunds or a LaMarcus Joyner. Kareem Jackson is a vet that maybe could make sense. He's on the last legs in his NFL career, so you wouldn't have to pay him much. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I don't think the Giants have that much money or are willing to spend that much money on another safety spot. He's the best of the best that is left, but there's definitely some guys that I think that Joe Schoen could look towards as a veteran to replace Julian Love. I want to ask you, though, now that we've gone through about 13 guys that maybe could be the next strong safety and captain of this defense to replace Love, who do you want it to be? Give me a name down in the comments section. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Remember, if the Giants make a move, we'll make a video. And the first spot you're going to hear about it is over on my Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up over there, and we'll see you later.